Hi there everybody, it's UK independent demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.com. Thank you for joining me. I'm just going to give everyone a few moments to get online while I just sort my camera out. I've moved my desk around a little bit, so I had a little bit of an accident earlier. Idle fingers and everything, and I happened to just have a little bit of a mishap with everything, so I've amended everything on my desk, so hopefully you can see okay. I was just sitting there bored and thought I've only got a few minutes really until we go live, so I'll just sit here and wait till it starts. And in the meantime I touched things, everything fell, my mount fell, my lights fell. We were having great fun. Hi everybody, hi Karen, hey Janice, I loved your live earlier, that was amazing. Janice over at Jazzle Crafts, she did a gorgeous live using the 2 wild rose stamps that earlier, and I loved it, it was lovely. So my live today is a 3D box. It's this one. This is one of my old projects that I've actually done a little bit of a change on it. Sounds normal. Oh, do you normally have desk problems? I know. So it's got the little belly band on that holds it together. And when you open it, it's got 3 little boxes in there. Each one will fit a tea light or some sweets. The one I made previously, this was a drawer. So it used to, I've had it on my YouTube for some time, and it was a box. And you push it out and the drawer comes out with the 3 little boxes, and I put Lindt chocolate in it. Today I felt like stepping it up and actually making it into a static project. And this is the one I did using the Parisian blooms. A nosebleed. Oh dear. Don't want to tempt fate by saying that sounds terrible, but very sorry. To keep going though, by the way, I've set a challenge, Janice. So Janice did a live earlier that I was watching, really good, and I noticed she got bought a cup of tea through her live. So I have made a couple of helpful suggestions to the people in my household over the fact that Janice got a cup of tea part way through her video. I wonder, should we see? Should we see? By the end, if I sound really angry, it's because I haven't had a cup of tea. So anyway, this is my box. To make this, the supplies you're going to need are 2 different coloured cardstocks. So I've got Smoky Slate as one of my colours, and I have got Petal Pink as the other colour. And then let me tell you what you need and what sizes you need them cut. So in colour 1, which will be my Petal Pink colour, is Petal Pink squares, and they're cut at 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and you need 2 of those. You then also want a strip. This is 1 inch by 11 inches. This is just a strip of A4 paper with 1 inch cut off it at the end, so that's the length. So if you're in America, you haven't got A4, just cut 1 inch off the end of one of your larger sheets of paper, and that will be fine. And then I have 4 strips that are 5 3/8 of an inch and 1 7/8 of an inch, and you need 4 of those. I've done it all in inches today because I was getting confused last week with inches, centimetres and everything, so everything's all done in inches, and hopefully that's okay for you all. So as I said, these are 5 3/8 of an inch by 1 7/8 of an inch, 1 inch by 11 inches, and both of these are 4.5 inches. If you do lose track, the measurements are all on my Instagram, so if you head over to my Instagram, I've got here what each one is, and that's what I was just reading to you. The other colour, which is Smoky Slate, again this is 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and this one here is 5 3/8 of an inch by 8 1/4. Okay, so to get started, we're going to do the inside of the box first. The inside are these little boxes, and because it's helpful to me as well as you, I have done myself a little post-it note as well from here, and hopefully you can all see it. Hiya Honeybee. Oh, happy Mother's Day. You have all been confusing me with this. So America are doing it's Mother's Day today. Our Mother's Day was back in March. And I saw it come up on my feed with everybody wishing everyone happy Mother's Day. And I thought, oh no, I've forgotten. And I had a little bit of a panic until I thought, no, I did do it. But yeah, we have a different Mother's Day. But happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers that are joining us from America. Janice, did we work out that some places in Europe have Mother's Day today as well? Or is it just us that's weird? Australia has Mother's Day today too. I wonder why we all have different days. They just do it to scare me, that's all. So on the 4.5 inches by the 4.5 inches square, you want to score it round at 1 3/8 of an inch. Hello to those who've just joined us. I have just started. So if you've got the supplies off my Instagram, Slim and Stylish, you can get started straight away on the project. So it's 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And you want to score it round at 1 3/8 of an inch all the way around. Germany as well. It's Mother's Day in Germany. Might have to do a little Google later and see why it's all different days. And exactly the same on the other colour cardstock that you chose. I don't know what colours you all chose, but I've done Petal Pink and Smoky Slate because I quite like these. But 1 3/8 of an inch all the way around. And there we go. 1 3/8, 1 3/8. So that's your scoring on those 3 pieces. Hello to anyone joining us. We're making this project today. And it's got a little belly band that holds it on. All of the measurements for the cards you need are over on my Instagram. And we have just started putting together these boxes, and these are the score lines for you. So on these 4.5 by 4.5, you want to score around at 1 3/8 of an inch. And the bone folder. So once you've scored it, burnish all these lines. Oh, Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape, that sounds nice. I am trying to not use purples as much. Well, I say I'm trying not to use the purples as much. I do use Highland Heather for like everything. I think it's a lovely colour. So it took a huge hammering, and I went to the shelf the other day and the shelf was bare, so I had to stop. Hi Cindy. Oh, watching while you're making cards. Hello Hilary. Thank you all for joining. So once you've done all of those, you want to start snipping. You're just turning these into boxes. So if you snip straight up there, do a little tab out, and then tab it in at the top. Turn the card and go again on this one. I think it's lovely that people join to craft along, either crafting what I'm crafting or crafting other projects and having a natter at the same time. Sometimes when you're sitting at your craft desk, I know I sometimes feel it's just me and the project, so it's really nice to have someone else there to natter to. Mind you saying that, I found TikTok earlier. Has anyone found TikTok yet? Oh my gosh. I could have just been stuck on that for hours without doing anything. I had to turn it off in the end because I thought otherwise I'm going to be here watching dogs talking to me. Hi Norma, happy Mother's Day to you. I don't know what time 4 PM is English time in the States. I hope I haven't pulled you all apart from your family at like lunchtime. Would it be morning over there? And I've got it in mind it's about 7 hours difference. but I might be wrong. Or is it different times in different places of America? Showing my ignorance with my geography again. But yeah, you want to do this on all three, so just chop in on each one. I'm actually in a little bit of trouble with this project because I made it and I showed it to my mum and I said, oh, do you like this? Do you think it would be all right for my life? And she said, oh yeah, I really like that. That's lovely. And then she took the box and she went, how wide is this? So I told her how wide it was. And then she made the box. I wasn't around. I'd left then. I'd come upstairs to do other crafty things. Oh, Hilary, 5:15 in the Netherlands. There we go. Getting my times. It's not too different. So yeah, so I'd left her with it, and then I came upstairs, and when I went down, she went, "Oh, my little boxes didn't fit." But I hadn't mentioned to her. I told her the width of here, but this is a different width. So it's more of a slight rectangle than a square. So she'd sat there and made it, and then the boxes didn't fit, and I was in big trouble. And she was like, "Don't you do that on your live?" So that's why we've got all the measurements there. And for anyone wondering, I do take a picture of the post-it note at the end, and I put it onto both my Instagram and my Facebook, so you can find them from there. Because I do know that I rush ahead pretty quick, and also my Brummie accent can sometimes be a bit stumbly. When we were watching your live earlier, Janice, so anyone who also likes watching lives, Janice does a few. Jazzle Dazzle Crafts, bit of a mouthful, and hers are really interesting because I'm not saying Janice doesn't plan her projects before I start. That's silly of me to say. But Janice does her project and then she'll ask, she'll go, oh, shall I do this with the embossing or this with the embossing? Which I never do because I've got such a small gap. If someone said something I hadn't got, I'd panic. So I always try and have everything around. Whereas Janice, she just, should we emboss with the black? Should we emboss with the silver? And you feel like you've actually made a card with it. It's really good fun. Go and check hers out, Jazzle Dazzle Crafts. I can't remember why I went on to that. Oh yeah, I was on Janice's live earlier. I was listening to it. My mum went, oh, is Janice Scottish? I was like, yes. And then I thought to myself, I hope people don't listen to mine and go, oh, is she a Brummie? Because locally, I live in Solihull, and there's a lot of... I live in Solihull, I'm not from Birmingham. So as soon as someone turns around and says, oh, you've got a Brummie accent, I'm like, I don't, I live in Solihull. And then anyone from Birmingham, and they say, oh, you've got a Dudley accent, then no, I don't, I live in Birmingham. That's how we all are. So, right, to assemble these boxes, you just want to pop some glue on all of them and then fold them all in. Okay. And you want to do the same for all three of them, so that they're all folded into little boxes. Okay. What's the weather been like with you all today? You hate your... Oh no, I like your accent, Sophia. Sophia is Forest Crafts on YouTube. Let's go along and see some of Sophia's videos. She's been putting out quite a few recently. And she was using the lovely Rooted to Nature this week. I love that stamp set, so check hers out. But yeah, our weather has been really windy today. We were so lucky. We had a bit of a party on Friday, and I feel like I should clarify, it was definitely a social distance party. I sat on my driveway and the next door neighbours sat on their driveway. Rainy in Orlando. Oh, you never think of that, do you? Well, you live in Orlando, so you obviously know the weather. I always think of it was really sunny because it was sunny when I went there, but I'm sorry you have rain. So yeah, we had this house party, road party, and we all stayed on each other's drives. No one sort of left their drives, and we had scones and tea, and I had tea out of a teapot. I never have tea out of a teapot. And we managed to get some tunes going, and we just waved across to everybody on their drives for VE Day. And I got burnt. I was determined to wear a dress because I haven't been out properly out in sort of 7 weeks. So I thought, I'm wearing a dress and I'm putting my makeup on. And I wore a dress with the back missing. Hiya, Tina. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so I wore a dress with the back missing, sat in the sun, and now it is red raw. And I came in and said, oh, I'm not spending any more time in the sun, that's it. And since then we've had rain, so I think the sun took me literally. Tina's a bit late, she's been crafting. What have you been crafting, Tina? I'm so nosy. I want to know what everyone's doing at their craft desk. So there is my 3 boxes. Okay. Now, what you could have done was you could have done some stamping on these. I did not. I left them as they were because I quite like these colours. But if you had just normal cardstock and you just say they were all white and you wanted to make a difference, you could have stamped one of them, anything like that. Arc for notebooks for your aunt. Very nice. What paper? We're using pretty paper. Tina uses gorgeous paper. Tina comes from Germany and she comes to our craft events over here. I always get really excited because she does 3D projects and it's always got different food and I've never tried before. So I always get quite excited by Tina's projects. So for this now, you want to stick these all together and then you also want to stick them to one of these strips we had earlier. So these strips are, and I'm checking it back on my Instagram, so if you do want any of the measurements, they are there. They are 5 3/8 of an inch by 1 7/8 of an inch. Okay, so you want to put your fuse or your snail, your sticky strip, Tombow, whatever you're using, onto the edge. Stick it together. And then do the same with this one. And again, stick that one together as well. And then just to definitely make sure that they do stick together, that's where you want to stick your cardstock so it fits on the bottom, just like that. And stick it down. It doesn't matter, it is hanging over slightly. That really doesn't matter because when it goes in your box, you're not going to notice it. It's just so that it is definitely firm and not falling apart. Okay, so that's the inside of the box. As you can see, it's sitting on it there, so that's fine. Sorry, Janice. See, this is what I do. I whiz ahead. And that sits inside. So where are we? Are we sticking? I was actually looking at this earlier and wondering if my washi tape would fit in it. Just because it's pretty. Oh, it doesn't. But a candle definitely does. And your sweets do. Oh, Janice. I'm sorry, I'm going too quick. I also did a terrible experiment earlier where I opened this bag of bonbons from Morrison's to see if the bonbons would fit in. Now, this was full when I first checked to see if the bonbons would fit in, so it was a terrible experiment because the bonbons are a bit small, but I'm now not going to fit in my trousers, is where we're going with this. I ate nearly half a pack, but they were so nice. You have to have a bit of a nibble while you're crafting, don't you? Let us know when you've caught up. I was watching on said earlier that I'd started getting onto TikTok. I was watching a few videos on TikTok earlier of, they had put like a masking tape. Oh yeah, you could put paper clips in there and bookbinder clips. That would be a really good idea. I can't eat those. But yeah, people had put masking paper along the wall and had painted, masking tape, and had actually painted it, and they painted it in these colours. So I thought that was quite nice. Anyway, bit of useless gossip in between. We all okay? So on the larger piece of card, this one is colour card 2. This is 5 3/8 of an inch by 8 1/4 inches. Oh yeah, tea lights definitely do fit in, Tina, but I just couldn't eat those and I really wanted the bonbons, so that's where we went with that. Oh, I was looking on my phone for the measurements. I wrote them down here, everybody. That's typical me. 5 3/8 of an inch by 8 1/4 inches. And you'll want to use scoring tool again. And I've got the score marks here for you, but I'll read them out as I do them. And I will take a picture of that and pop it up on my Facebook and my Instagram later so you can follow it. So it's 1 7/8 of an inch that you want to score out. 3 3/8 of an inch. 5 1/4 inches. 6 3/4 of an inch. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll try to stop mentioning sweets, Tina. Oh. I'm just going to go over those again. Before you assemble this, there is some more sticking that you need to do. So if we burnish all of the score lines, and as I said, I was a bit inspired by that TikTok-y thing earlier with the colours. So I actually coloured the inside so it looked different. Measurements, yeah, sure, Janice. 5 3/8 of an inch by 8 1/4, and I scored 1 7/8 of an inch, 3 3/8 of an inch, 5 1/4 inches, and 6 3/4 of an inch. So it's 1 7/8, 3 3/8, 5 1/4, and 6 3/4. So through being inspired by the video earlier, I came up with an idea of popping these panels in as well. Hi Amber, yay, you caught me. Thank you for joining. Right, so this one here is narrower. You've done it right, that's fine. It's just so it shows the little bit of petal pink underneath, because that's going to be the top flap. Okay, so the one that's slightly smaller on the end, that's your top. Okay, so we're going to play with the other two first. So these sheets of cardstock are cut at 5 3/8 of an inch and 1 7/8 of an inch, and you want to stick one on the centre bit in between the score lines and another one on this side also at the score line to the end. This one that's smaller, just leave it for a second. Okay, so I'm just going to stick that on. You can use your sticky strip or your Tombow, or if you've got fuse around, you can still use that. I'm using the fuse because it's quicker, but I actually prefer using Tombow, because then if I get it stuck in the wrong place on the fold marks, you know, if you go over your score lines so it's a bit tougher, you can move it. But I just wanted it to dry quick. I can stick this one to this wing. Like I said, I did do a video like this a couple of years ago, and the drawer actually came out. So whereas this is stuck, it slid out, and that was in all different ink colours, and I'd done the outside in black, and I thought that was quite starking, but actually I like the petal pink on these. I think, Karen, Highland Heather is well out. I think I'm now a petal pink girl. Don't tell everybody. So for this one here, when you come to put it together, oh, you crafting along as well, Norma? Sorry, I will take deep breaths. Slow, Helen. When I have the measurements, I rush because I panic I'm going to go wrong. I'm a panicker. Right, so this one here, when it comes over, rather than sticking it in like you would a normal tag in a box, we're going to go outside, and you'll notice it probably has about ½ an inch separate, just there. That's the bit we're going to use to decorate. So I have popped a strip of our glimmer paper and our petal pink underneath as well. So the petal pink is the full bit, and I've just popped a strip of glimmer paper there, and I have a strip here. So because I'm a bit of a spendthrift, I'm just going to cut that in half because I can't use all of that on one project. My glitter paper lasts forever because I just keep hold of the smallest bits because I never know where I'm going to put it, and I'm like, oh, I just want a little bit of glitter. And like when I go through my scraps, they're all like this, and I keep them because they're glittery and pretty. So for this, that was a straight end because I scissor cut one. I'm not very good at scissor cutting. I can't never get it straight. So you want to stick it just underneath the flap, so it gives you sort of ½ centimetre. Ah, brilliant. Thanks, Janice. And this I am going to do with my liquid glue because, you know, it could go so wrong if I get it in the wrong place. Doesn't matter about having too much because you are going to stick the petal pink over the top of it, so rather have too much than too little. Okay, which bit was me cut and which bit? There's a straight bit, right? Make sure you stick it down. Yes, indeed, I do that. I can't throw away glitter paper. I just can't throw it away. There's always room to do something with it, and it's pretty. So me throwing it away is never going to work. So it's just a tiny bit you want, just so it gives it a hint of glitter. And then once you've done that bit, stick the petal pink over the top, and that will be longer than the glitter, don't worry. Use the score mark as your guide, so you want to pop that in. There we go. I've actually been a little bit silly, but it wouldn't be a YouTube live without me being silly. When I put the fuse on, I put the fuse all over the card, which means actually the bit that's on show is now really sticky. So I'm just going to grab an extra piece of petal pink, and I'm going to put it over the top. You don't have to do that. That's just me because I've been an idiot. Technical term there. Helen's been an idiot. But you know, when you cut your cardstock, do you ever notice you always get hundreds of these thin strips? That's obviously for when I'm silly and I can cover them up. So. I feel really annoyed with myself over that. That one is too thin. Everyone will have caught up now. They'll have all overtook me because I was silly. I always, every live there's a mess up somewhere, have you noticed? Which is strange because when I do my usual videos, I actually don't often have to stop them and redo them or anything else. So I just must save the mistakes for when I'm live. I'm just going to cut along there so it's back the right length again. And no one will ever know. There we go. Now it's extra sturdy because it's got 2 lots of petal pink on. Our secret. So that's the outside part of the box and the inside. How are we doing, Karen? Janice? Norma, are we all catching up? Or are you all sitting waiting to see what I do silly next? So this now is where the 3 boxes fit in, and they go in there. So you can just stick those down. I'm going to use my Tombow again here so that if I put it in the wrong place I can manoeuvre it. Oh, brilliant, both of you. Would you believe me if I told you that I messed up my front bit so you two could catch up? I don't think so. Oh no, Tina, I think we all do. I think we all make little daft bits when we're doing it. By the way, if you watch my normal videos, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it in my YouTube lives as well, I have been on this Tombow now for about 3 months, and I've been thinking it's empty, and every time I go to use it I think this will be the video that it will go in. It is still going, and it has felt empty for ages. So one of these days I'll do a big announcement and say the Tombow's finally done. Not yet. So there we go. And then that should fit in quite nicely like that. So next up is my belly band. This is really technical, this is. It's really not. I have the least technical way of doing belly bands. I close my box how I want it. The end of my belly band is going to be on the bottom so no one can see. Oh yeah, it's definitely sturdy. This isn't being knocked about or going anywhere. It's a thick one. Hello from Oregon. America, happy Mother's Day to over there. I'm getting used to this. I was saying earlier it's not Mother's Day here, so all of the American craft ladies have confused me today. So my technical knowledge of belly bands is you pop it underneath and you just bend it round. No measurements. Foolproof way of getting your belly band exactly right for this box. And then when you do each bit, just pinch it. There we go. Take it off, and when you fold it, just make sure it's straight. I'm not as technical as I'm getting with it. You're just folding on your pinch marks, then just keep checking to make sure it's right as you go round. It should be. Yay! Pop some glue on. I'll just do it with fuse. It's probably why my Tombow never runs out, because whenever I'm about to do it, I'm like, no, I'll just do it with my tape strimmer. There we go. And this is why I said it didn't matter whether you had US card or English card, because it just needed to be 1 inch, because once you finish doing your belly band, you just need to chop that off. And there you go. And that'll hold your box in place. So for decorating the box, I've got some scrap pieces of Petal Pink, and I'm using the Here's a Card stamp set. I do love having all sentiment sets for my 3D projects, because when I use cards, I've already got it out, I've already got it in a block, I'm looking for it, but I know I've already got it somewhere in front of me. But yeah, I like sentiment stamp sets because I use them on my 3D projects, because when I do cards, I tend to use the images on the stamps and then the sentiment that goes with it. So when I get to do a 3D project, I get excited over which sentiment I can pick from the sentiment set. I'm using Smoky Slate because it's the alternate colour. You can use whichever colour goes with your projects. Mind you, Smoky Slate would go with Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape Karen, so you could use that too. Stamp it down. And you want to stamp it more to this end. And then you're just going to create it as a flag, so I'm going to chop a bit of extra off there. Then for the flag, if you just cut up in the middle, and then cut from one corner to the top there to meet it, one corner to there. And there's your sentiment to go on. That little piece of glitter earlier that I said I'm never going to throw away because it still glitters. I've got the punch that was in the Celebration catalogue. This is also going to be in the new annual catalogue. So I'm just going to use that on my glimmer paper to give me a flower. Now I haven't got my paper piercer, but I do have my scoring tool, which is just as good, really. And I've got a little piece of foam that I keep, which is over on my desk behind me. There we go. And I'm just going to use the thicker end. I'm just going to go around in a little circle to see, it makes it fly. Okay, so I've got those two to add to the top, and I've also got a strip of DSP. So this is the Parisian Dsp from the summer catalogue, and the size of this is 1 1/4 inches by 5 3/8 of an inch. So I know I was going for the bling factor today. So sparkly. I love glitter, honestly. However, glitter doesn't like me. If I use actual glitter, it goes everywhere. I can get into such a mess. So that just sits. I've given you the wrong measurement. We knew I would somewhere. Luckily, I've given it you too big. So 5 3/8 of an inch. I had said that this should be. And it shouldn't. It should be 4 7/8 of an inch. So you just want to chop a little bit extra off because you have a little bit of a frame around there. We knew I was going to do it somewhere that I was going to give you the wrong measurements. I'm just going to hand chop it. That looks about a 1/4 of an inch, right? There we go. So it sits more like that. Let's just stick that down. There we are. Some dimensionals to pop up the sentiment. Now when you're putting the dimensionals onto the sentiment, because the belly band sits part way underneath it like that, you want to make sure your first dimensional is around by the T and not any nearer, otherwise it won't stick. So that'll be sort of your first one. Make sure you leave that little gap is what I'm trying to say very badly. And I stuck it flush to the end, but just so you could still see the glitter underneath. No, I don't want to waste my shimmer. Ah. I know you fit. I measured you around the box. Thank you. I'll tell it. Okay, and then finally, you just stick your little flower on. So I'm using the mini dimensionals for that one. Sticking it lightly on the back, otherwise I'm going to flatten it again. Just stick that up off the side. And then I've got some champagne rhinestones. This was ever so funny. I mentioned on a live how gorgeous these champagne rhinestones were and said that I was a little bit devastated because I'd used all of mine. And one of my customers sent me an envelope with a strip in. How lovely is that? I thought that was so nice of her. So, and I'm wasting them by getting a little one off, and I don't want a little one, I want a medium size one. Oh, I'll use a little one. But you just want to pop that into the middle. That little one really wanted to be on this project, didn't it? There you go. I thought it was so nice of Janice. I thought it was really lovely. So, there we go. There's my box. But yeah, tea lights could fit in there. We've already said sweets, but I've already demonstrated that I've ate most of them. So let me see what you've made. If you've crafted along with me or you make it after, let me see. If you're on Instagram, pop it on Instagram, tag me in it and I'll see it there. Or pop it over on Facebook, because I will pop a copy of this and all the measurements and everything else with the correct size for the DSP. I will change it all over on my Facebook and on my Instagram, so you can comment on them and let me see what you've done. Hopefully you like it. Yeah, Tina, go ahead. Case it. Go for it. Thanks for joining, Amber. It was really great that you managed to make one. Yay. And Karen, I hope you've caught up. I'm looking forward to seeing your purple ones. I don't think Janice, did you say what colour you were using? It's going to be a sneak surprise later. But thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you again next Sunday, 4 o'clock. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Oh, Norma, that's brilliant. Yeah, give it to your mum for Mother's Day. I'm glad I stayed on before exiting it. Bye, everybody.